Hey everyone, I'm just gonna do my video on how I found out this guy was behind group admins on local Facebook group pages, how he was behind Saskatoon Reddit, like he was a mod for Saskatoon Reddit moderators, and how I also found out that my comments and posts were being hidden, which led me to figuring out about the group admins. And when I say hacked, like, he might have not hacked the group admins. He might have just became one himself. I kind of highly doubt it. Maybe, you never know. But more realistically to me, I think he hacked them. But when I do refer to hacking, when I say hacked accounts, I'm usually meaning, either created accounts, hacked accounts, just accounts of people where it's not the actual person behind their account, which is the term catfishing. But anyways, when I found out about my comments being hidden, which led me to finding out that only group admins can do that, it was a complete accident. I wasn't looking for that at all. I wasn't even thinking about it when I first went onto Facebook rooting around. So, after I shut down my accounts last year, I restarted new accounts. I communicated with everybody that I needed to. But like I said, there's still quite a few people that, I can't get a hold of that are within the city. Some are outside of the city. The majority are in the city. So I started looking around on local Facebook group pages. Just seeing if there's, any mutual friends, any posts. I wasn't even really thinking about making a post to do with, what happened, since it was pretty fresh and I wasn't really 100% sure on everything that I've told you guys. But, I was pretty sure on a good amount of stuff. Over time, I did find out a lot more. And it's not like the stuff that I found on Facebook was like all in one day. It was just over the course of time. And Facebook used to be a primary app of mine. I think that's why this guy went after my old Facebook account, and why he tried going after my last one that I shut down, was because it was a primary account. I used it over Instagram, Snapchat, any other platform, and now it's completely different. So, every so often I would go on there and I would just kind of poke around, look around at, local group pages. For the most part, I knew what was going on before I even found out about this. I've heard about tons of people claiming about just hacking people's accounts, just all the weird stuff going on Facebook. Not just Facebook in general, but I mean locally, from group pages, people within the city, mutual friends. Like I said, our city's not that big. Our world isn't that, our world's pretty small. But I was, under the impression that there was a lot of fake accounts out there, including the ones I was aware of. But, what I stepped into opened up a whole different door for me, and, just revealed a whole bunch of stuff that I just didn't even think of, which was the amount of accounts that were on these group pages. So, like, I know a lot of them are bots. I know there's other scammers out there. But like I said, I don't know what it is. It's a sixth sense. It's like I could just pick out which posts were his. And he also, he hacked me. So he knew a lot of just little tidbits of information about me. And, the term that I refer to called baiting, well, this is how he would bait me. Is he would make, posts that would resonate with me, whether it had to do with nails or going to school or, nursing or something that I was interested in, or something that had to do with me. And since a lot of these pages, some of them were private, some of them were public, but if you are the group admin, and if definitely private, I know you can see when people see posts and stuff, and when activity is going on, so they can see when people are going on the pages. And that's when I completely cut private pages out completely, because before I got shut down my accounts, I knew he was behind a bunch of Facebook groups and pages, not the local ones, but I knew other ones he was behind on. So, I'd start poking around, but the first thing I noticed was in some of these groups, there was a bunch of accounts accusing, it was a couple people, and they had their name and they had their photo, and they're saying how this person's always scamming people, or how they're always asking for stuff, and, you know, they're just being a menace on these pages pretty much. But for the most part, they're scamming people out of money. And, you know, when I was just observing it, like I said, I was just rooting around. I didn't mean to find this, but I was kind of thinking, like, you know, if someone was to scam somebody, and I know this is a fact, and everybody else knows this too. If you were to scam somebody, you wouldn't use your actual photo and your actual name. Any scammer knows that. Why would you do that? Why would you? No, everybody knows that a scammer wouldn't use the real name or real photo. They sit behind a fake account purposely so their identity isn't revealed, duh. So I pointed that out, and, you know, I wasn't even thinking about it being this creep behind these accounts. I was just simply pointing it out and saying, hey, you know, like, that could be an actual real person that scammers are using. Like, they're using their actual account, or they, you know, they're using their name and their photo. And I said, you could be defaming someone. Like, if that person found out and that wasn't true, there could be legal consequences to that. And then right away, he gave himself away. He started dogpiling other accounts and, you know, arguing with me, trying to gaslight me, getting really mad that I was trying to warn them about scammers and what scammers was doing. And then he also tried to flip it around on me by trying to call me a scammer. And it wasn't working. I knew exactly what he was trying to do. And this was before I knew my comments or posts were being hidden, which I found out shortly after. But, you know, I made this guy so mad that I just outed what he was doing, and I didn't even mean to. It was just the way that he dogpiled these accounts and tried arguing with me, and I pointed it out. I said, you know, there's no way regular people on a Facebook group page would care that much to get that mad at me and call me a scammer. And, like, he even started, like, making posts on these group pages about me, and, like, you know, he tried, like, cyberbullying me through all these accounts, and, like, I knew what was going on. It wasn't working. But then when I found out, when I got my friend to go look at the same post, because I was just like, why isn't anybody else commenting on this stuff or, like, saying how ridiculous it was? Because some people were, but just the amount of ridiculousness that was going on these group pages, I know it would have attracted a lot more attention. Better yet, it would have made the group admin ban us for that type of behavior. But none of us were banned, and I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just kind of focused on messing around with this guy because he was so angry that I was outing what he was doing. Because not only did he have fake accounts on there, but there was actual real people on those group pages as well. But when I was thinking about, like, just the ridiculousness that was going on, and just, you know, people going back and forth and me commenting and, like, these accounts commenting, I was like, I wonder if these are even being shown. I was like, why is none of us getting banned? And that's when I started getting suspicions about him possibly being a group admin, or, you know, him hiding comments. And I actually, at first, to be honest with you, I thought it maybe was, like, each account that he was pretending to be and arguing with me from, he was hiding the comments. Like, I thought they could control their own posts. But then we looked on Google, and sure enough, no, only person that can do that is the group admin. And not only that, I got friends to go look at the same post, and, like, I don't have them, you know, I'm in people's messaging and all that, and for a reason. And, you know, if your comment's hidden, your friends will be able to see it as well. But, like, you know, I didn't have any friends. And the friends I had from my last Facebook page, they're all fake anyways, too. Like, maybe, like, 15% of them were actually real people. So once we realized that, that's when I was like, wow, I realized not only were my friends and family his past victims' friends and family, but there's way more other people online that are hacked, like way more than and you know, if you think about it, you think about the mutual friends that my mutual friends have, that the past victims' mutual friends have. And the only way he was to really get into people's accounts was he had to pretend to be somebody that these people knew. Because nobody really falls for phishing scams anymore. And that's how he went away undetected, was hacking through trusted accounts. And I'm running out of time, so there'll be another part for this. See you guys later.